Hey guys, thank you for joining me again on my page. I'm robinicolek, the inspiration specialist, and I'm wired to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. And I just want to say hello to everybody. It's been a minute, but it's time for another 10-minute talk. And the topic that God gave me today has everything to do with what He is doing in you, in us, myself included. So I'll give you guys a little bit of transparency, and I'm going to break this down because I'll tell you a personal thing that happened to me one time, and hopefully that will give you some encouragement and some insight moving forward in your particular situation, if this applies to you. So I was in a situation one time, and all of a sudden everything changed. And I really didn't know what was going on. I was just like, man, okay, I don't really get it. And of course, usually when you're in a situation with another person, be it a friendship, a relationship, situationship, a business partnership, any type of ship, we literally have to always go to God to see why that ship is sinking, right? So God really, really, really had to stretch me because I was just belligerent, whatever, okay. And genuinely like that, not being like that to make them mad. I just didn't really care. And so, I was just like, okay, God. And then over time, it was like, well, this is kind of weird. Things are kind of odd. Things are kind of weird. So the good thing about having a relationship with God is, which is what I always try to encourage y'all to do. The good thing about having that is when you can make knee-jerk reactions and really respond to things in error because you respond as soon as you get it, or you think something is one way and you discover it's not. The good thing about having a close relationship with God, a personal relationship, is that He can tap you on your shoulder and say, that's not it. You didn't do that right. And even though you could have been going for months, weeks, days, years even, thinking that you were doing this thing right, but He's like, no, because this is why personal relationship is golden. Because y'all, when you think about your best friends or parents or siblings or whoever you have closeness with, you have a relationship because you communicate. How many times, you and your girls go somewhere and your girl be like, oh no, boo, you can't wear that, girl. You can see all your whatever. Or, one of your guy friends might be like, dog, you can't treat her like that. Whatever. You just have people close to you that you are in relationship with that really, really help you see things with perspective, right? So with that being said, God started giving me perspective. So my first thing, once he revealed to me, He's like, no, Robin, pay attention. Obviously, if this person is acting like this and this is not normally how they act, you've offended them. And of course, again, transparent. This is what these 10-minute talks is about, because I want y'all to start thinking, really start asking God to go deep. So I was like, wait, so of course, belligerence again. I'm like, whatever. I didn't do them nothing, and I'm, you kind of just get to a point, y'all, where you say, you get to a certain age, you say, why can't you communicate properly? Say something. It just gets frustrating, and I say, God, listen, okay, I take it. Obviously, if I've offended them in some way, no problem. So God starts giving me a list of things to do for this person. I'm not going to lie. I was begrudgingly doing these things. Not going to lie. I did not want to do these things. I am not a perfect person, and I don't want to let anybody think that I am or that I appear to be, because that's not me at all. So I want to be fully transparent, because this has to set people free. Same way God set me free, I hope it can set you free. So here's the thing. I did all of these things. And so, of course, sometimes when God gives us instruction, we automatically assume, because it's something that He tells us to do, again, out of obedience. I wasn't sacrificing nothing to do this. I was being obedient doing it because I had no desire to do it. I only did it because He told me to. Well, of course, if God tells you to do something and the situation might be weird, you're assuming, oh, well, when I do this, this is going to happen. Or, when I give them this, then their attitude will change. Or if I go over to this place, then this will happen, right? Well, none of those things happened. And it got to the point where I was getting so furious, because I felt like if I really stepped back and I started looking at what God was showing me, I just was thinking, I was like, well, God, this is not somebody who cares about me. Because I knew that they were aware of things that were going on with me. I made them aware of things, and they literally did not have my back. They just left me to the wolves. And when I was paying attention to the stuff that was going on, I'm like, well, why can they do all of this, but they can't do that? So, of course, if y'all pay attention to what I'm saying, I keep circling back to myself. Like, I ain't do that. I didn't do the none. Everything ended up being about me. I don't consider myself a selfish person, but God started showing me from their lack of response, my selfish ways. He also started to show me how I was immature. A lot of people don't like to admit that. People, you can be 60, 70, 80 years old and still be immature about something. And that's what I don't think people really grasp, because sometimes your immaturity or your flesh moves could cause you to breach something or hurt someone. And you first of all, you don't even want to take responsibility for it. But secondly, you really don't want to be bothered because you're like, well, forget it. I just move on with my life. But when God does not respond to your rants and your raves and even your prayers and your cries, and a lot of times our fussing at God because he's not changing the situation, that is God trying to show us he's trying to change something in us. So I'm thinking all of this time I'm doing this and I'm doing that, all things God told me to do. Now, here was the cherry on top. Everything blew up in my face. Literally. I'm not going to go too deep, but everything blew up in my face. Meanwhile, God is making me do this when I am seeing this person run behind somebody else. They're doing this. I'm literally seeing all this with my eyes. People telling me all kind of stuff. I'm literally seeing this. So y'all, you can imagine in my prayer time, I'm furious. Okay, I am furious. I'm pretty private, so a lot of people didn't know what was going on. Maybe one person, maybe two, but they didn't even know what was going on because I was just so aggravated, and I literally just like to tell God what's going on unless he directs me to another human being. And I do that more and more as I get older. But anyway, needless to say, the point of this 10-minute talk today is this. If what you're doing that God is telling you to do is not working to you, and if that person or that situation or that opportunity is not changing, and you're being obedient and you are doing everything God is telling you to do, it's not because he told you to do that stuff to get a reaction out of that person or a response out of that person. It's not, he didn't tell you to put yourself in certain predicaments where you felt embarrassed or played. He didn't tell you none of that to get the result you wanted. God told you that to get the result you needed. I may not have liked how that situation went down and how everything turned out, but thank God. It's in my past now. It's behind me. It was very hurtful. It was extremely painful. But y'all, God did not give me that relationship back because number one, in retrospect, he showed me that God is going to always give you situations with people that will honor you, who are going to bring you closer to him, and people who will trust the God in you, honor you, and respect you. I couldn't see it at the time. A lot of those things weren't there, but that's another conversation. But the point was, God showed me by that person's inaction that I hurt that person. So it didn't matter if I try to apologize. They just rather be hurt by it. But God had to show me too, even if you cause them an offense and you don't know why, they're behaving like you offended them. They may not respond or express themselves like you, but what they're saying is screaming loudly and they are offended. So what I did was, after all of the attempts and all of the stuff God told me to do didn't work, I was like, okay, well, what was the point of that? It was God just showing me like, Robin, you always have to stay humble. It doesn't matter what you think you know. You don't know everything, right? Number two, you also have to give yourself an opportunity to let me be God. Just because you thought this was one way, I did not give you this for life. This is not something I told you to hold on to for life. This is something you wanted. I am trying to elevate you. Now, mind you, God also showed me some very disturbing things about that person and situation that I was not aware of. But I had been praying and praying and praying. But again, relationship, communication, sticking close to God. He's showing me things, and slowly but surely, I went from doing all of these things to God completely removing me to everything even connected to it, because he's like, nah, I got something way better for you. But what you're not going to do is get on a high horse and act like I got something way better for you because you're better and you're the best. No, that right there ain't nothing that I want for you, but that does not give you an opportunity to drag them or make you think they beneath you or whatever. No, I'm going to deal with them and their shortcomings, but I'm trying to show you their lack of inaction and what they did was to get you to where I need you to be. I need you to be better. I need you to grow up and stop being so immature. Noted. I need you to do what I tell you to do, regardless of how you feel or how you look. Regardless, you have to do that. And thirdly, just because I tell you to do something in a situation, it does not mean it's going to garner the response that you think it deserves. That's not what that is. So I hope this helps somebody today. But remember, if you are a man after God's own heart or a woman after God's own heart, he will make sure that you land in the space that you are supposed to be in with him. Although in that situation, God had me do things and lead me to do things. And even honestly, y'all, something super drastic in the end. What he told me to do, not even my speed. I don't even do that. But when he told me to do it, I had to be obedient. And the point of that is simply this. God may be giving you instructions and it may look like you getting played. It may look like you're the bad guy. It may be that you're the good guy, and you feel like you're getting played. Whatever the case may be, you cannot be overly concerned about what it looks like and what God is telling you to do. And just because he's telling you to do certain things, it doesn't mean you're going to get the outcome that usually comes with doing those particular tasks. Everything is about God trying to make you better. Once I realized that situation wasn't changing, it was because God was trying to change me. So ask yourself, are you putting a whole lot of energy into a situation right now expecting a change? But God is only trying to change you. And it's okay if he is. I just want to leave y'all with this too. It's all about forgiveness. It doesn't matter what happened. But like I told y'all, I realized whether the person said it or not, I hurt their feelings and I just did some real immature stuff, whether I liked it or not. I'm not perfect. But remember this, y'all. Even if you do things that somebody in your life doesn't like, or things that you're ashamed of and you didn't realize you did, or you did it and you just wasn't in a good place when you did it. If that person or that situation does not allow you to come back and be yourself, or it was too much for them, you got to let that go. Because God is going to give you people who love you past your pain. He's going to give you people who will see that despite your flaws, despite anything that you do wrong, they're going to love you anyway. It might suck, but I learned something. I was somebody's friend for a long time, but they were not mine. Sometimes they did little things here and there, but if they were my friend, I didn't really know it. I didn't feel it. I made sure what I did, my presence was felt. But again, that word everything came back to being selfish. Everything came back to being about me. And what we know about God is that it cannot be about us. It has to be about him. It has to be about forgiveness. So even with everything I said, forgive yourself if you did something wrong, whether you know it or not, and try as best as you can to forgive the other person. God has greater and he has better for you. Because God always forgives us. And it doesn't matter how much we care about a person. We love somebody. We think it's one way. They think it's another. You want people in your life who will forgive you. You want people in your life who will not condemn you because you make a mistake or because you have a flaw. Do not release yourself from wanting and desiring people who do not allow you to be human. If they don't allow you to be human and be imperfect, you don't want those kind of people close to you. You just don't. Because let me tell you what you're going to do. You're going to end up being used a lot. And when everything hits the fan, depending on how that situation is set up, you're going to look like the bad guy or the crazy one. And you could avoid all of that if you start running who you're friends with and what you do in your life through God first. Because the truth of the matter is this. It doesn't matter how much I pray. Everything God tells me to do, I try to do it. I'm not always successful, but I do it. And because God is who he is, he gave me instructions that seem almost contrary to my behavior later on. It didn't even make sense. If I was that person, I'd be like, she crazy, she tripping. But I wasn't. I literally did what he told me to do. So you just have to trust God enough to know that he's going to continue to put people around you who will love you for who you are. They're not going to hold it against you. They're going to open up and move in a direction that God wants them to move with you. But if they don't, it's okay. Wish those people well, cry your tears, remove yourself from everything with that person or that situation. But ask God to show you, what are you showing me about me? Who do you want me to become? How can I move forward in my life happily and not take this from my past to ruin my future? Let me just be the best person I can be. Throw out the belligerence, the arrogance, the selfishness, the immaturity, everything God had to show me about myself. But all he showed me was this. He only prepared me for a situation that is absolutely perfect for me. And I pray you allow God to do the same for you. I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.